Welcome to the Eczema Warrior podcast. I'm your host, Julia Chen. I'm here to help you heal your eczema naturally so you can finally live your best damn life. Many years ago in my own eczema healing journey, I was stuck and confused on how to heal my skin. Fast forward to today, after many lessons learned and lots of trial and error, I'm now living my best life and traveling the world with clearer skin. If you're an eczema or TSW warrior who desires a life of food freedom and is wanting to heal your skin without steroids while using mindset and manifestation as a tool, you're in the right place. Now let's get into it. Welcome back to another episode of the Eczema Warrior podcast. Why do I feel like I haven't podcasted in a long time, even though I literally just released an episode last week? I feel like so much has happened over the past week, yet not a lot has happened at the same time. Does that make sense? Before we dive into today's episode, all about balancing your meals for eczema healing, I want to do a life update. I know last week, I think nothing really came up in my life update, but this week we have some pretty exciting news and a little bit of me sharing about my experience here in Nicaragua. So as some of you know, I've been living in Nicaragua for actually exactly a month now. And the original plan for me was to stay for another month and just get to know the people here more, make some new friends, and just practice more surfing, take more surfing lessons. But over the past week, I've just been feeling like this city isn't my vibe. And I don't know what it is, but there's just certain things that are happening that I'm not going to go into detail about because it's quite personal. But there are certain things that are kind of happening here where I kind of question whether or not being here is something that's aligned for me. That being said, there's a lot of tourists, a lot of expats and nomads that live here. But personally for me, I just don't know if this is the place where I can thrive in, if that makes sense. Have you ever walked into a room or walked into a party and you're just like, okay, this is not it. And that's basically how I've been feeling when I'm going to certain things. And don't get me wrong, I'm going out and trying to talk to people and make friends and stuff, but they never really go anywhere. And it just seems like it's a little bit challenging. And maybe I'm just new to this thing where going out by myself, I'm just still getting used to it. But when I think about the other times where I've gone out by myself in Guatemala, in Colombia, in Costa Rica, I didn't have a problem making friends. And, I would hang out with people more than just once versus around here where it's I meet them one time and then they either don't respond or whatever when I try to reach out if they want to, hang out again, or it's just not the vibe. And I'm like, what's going on here? This is supposed to be a popular spot where, people live, and it totally is. But maybe just for me personally, there's an inalignment with me being here in this country, and I'm just meant to be somewhere else. Anyways, all that being said, I still love Nicaragua. There's a lot of amazing things to do here. It's just not the place for me to live. And so I actually decided very last minute to leave. I literally had my apartment booked for another month. You guys know this apartment is the dream here in Nicaragua. I manifested this, but I think it's time for me to go. I really think it's time for me to go. So I messaged my landlord. I told him, hey, I'm sorry for the last minute notice, but I need to leave Nicaragua. Didn't go into details with him, but he said it was fine. And so I'm going to my next destination, and I'll be going next week. Literally just booked everything today, and I'm excited to share with you guys where I'll be. Hopefully the vibe is going to be different. It's another beach town in a different country, and there's also other nomads there as well. So I'm crossing my fingers that I make some friends and have a better experience and, do more things. Not saying that I haven't had good experiences here. I have had good experiences, but there's also been some interesting experiences where I kind of question if this is the town for me. Anyways, that's pretty much my life update. I'm leaving Nicaragua. I'm going to a different country, feeling the vibe there, and then possibly going to a different town to also visit some friends that I met last year when I was traveling. So I'm excited for that as well. Besides that, I'm honestly just been living here alone, surfing and going to coffee shops. And that's pretty much it. That's basically what I do. Okay. I hope that was kind of an exciting-ish life update. I wish I can go into more detail in terms of like what's been going on, but honestly, it's not one of those things I want people to know because it's quite like personal, but just if you guys care, everything is fine. Everything is fine. I just need to leave and go somewhere else that has better vibes, and then we will take it from there. Okay, today we are talking about a topic that a lot of you guys asked me about, and it's about how to actually balance your meals for eczema healing. And so when it comes to diet, there is a lot of focus for, I think in general, for a lot of people, when you're trying to heal your eczema, diet is always the first thing that we try to make changes to. And so today I want to give you guys some tips on how you can balance your meals so that you're not restricting and you're actually adding in more nutrients in your diet, which is really important for skin healing. So when you're balancing your meals, it's important to get these 3 macronutrients. You may have heard me talk about this before, maybe on my Instagram, maybe on my YouTube videos, but protein, fats, and fiber. These are going to be the key nutrients you always want to include in every single meal. Why are these macronutrients important? First of all, protein is important because your body is literally made up of proteins. And you get proteins from food, obviously. But without protein, it would be very hard to heal because it helps with wound healing. It helps with keeping you full, which is really important. It helps with balancing your blood sugars. All of these play a crucial role when it comes to healing your body and healing your eczema. And a lot of us actually don't eat enough protein in the day. Most people skip breakfast. If you're listening to this podcast episode, maybe you're skipping breakfast. It's one of the most common things we've seen in our clients is that a lot of people don't eat breakfast. And whenever you're skipping a meal, you're missing out on nutrients. Fats are important too, because fats are literally what nourishes your cells. It keeps your cells hydrated. It keeps your skin healthy, especially if you're getting omega-3s into your diet, which we'll talk about. Very important for skin healing. And then lastly, the third macronutrient is fiber. Fiber is literally what feeds the microbiome. And there is a big connection between the gut and the skin. If we have a healthy microbiome, then your skin will heal better. And so fiber, you get that from mostly fruits and vegetables. The more fiber on your plate, the better it is for healing. Now, when you're balancing your meals with these nutrients, how much of each should you actually get? So when it comes to protein, this is heavily dependent on your weight. Usually for my clients, I say that you take your weight in kilos and you want to multiply between 1.1 to 1.5 grams per kilo. Now, it depends on each person. Some people have higher needs because they have more wounds, they're going through TSW, they're dealing with more ooze. Others, maybe they just have mild eczema, then they don't need to take as much protein. So if you don't know where to start, you can just start with 1.1 per kilo and go from there. But of course, the best way to figure out what your needs are is to work with a licensed nutritionist or dietitian like me. And by the way, you guys, right now we're doing a new offer to work with me if you need help with your nutrition, your supplements, mindset, any questions that you have. I'm doing something called Telegram instant messaging. And this is where you get to ask me any questions over the course of 7 days. We use an instant messaging app and you get to have text access. And I respond to messages within 24 to 48 hours. And right now we're doing a promo for that. So if you want to sign up, it's going to be in the show notes below. So anyways, going back to the amount of protein. So yeah, based on your weight, based on your requirements, so between 1.1 to 1.5. And then protein comes from meats. Also, some plant-based proteins are available too. I always say choose lean meats like chicken, fish, turkey. Beans and legumes are also good sources of protein. So is tofu and tempeh, for example. When it comes to fats, so fats is basically the oils that you use when you're cooking. So I always suggest using good quality oils. So extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, flaxseed oil for non-heat cooking. You can even use coconut oil as well, and using a little bit at a time. And using that to cook with your meals is going to be sufficient, as long as you can, put enough oil to stir fry whatever you're making. Obviously, when you're not putting enough oil, then things tend to burn. So making sure you're putting a good amount for that. You can also bump up your plate with more fats. For example, avocados itself as a fruit is really high in omega-3s. You can bump up your healthy fat intake from adding that onto your plate or adding that into your smoothie. Ground flax is really good. It's a great source of healthy fats as well. Any nuts and seeds. Sometimes I like to put nuts and seeds on my salad. That's also another way to boost up fats. And of course, fiber. The amount of fiber you want to get on your plate, the ideal amount is 2 handfuls, which seems like a lot, but that's the ideal amount when it comes to fiber on your plate. The more variety you get, the better it is for your microbiome. Your microbiome cannot thrive if there's no food to feed it, because there's literally live bacteria in your gut that needs food in order to thrive. And it gets that from fiber. So think about vegetables, fruits, beans and legumes. Those are all really good sources of fiber that you want to include onto every single meal. Usually when I cook, I like to have different colors. So maybe, for example, this week I made a stir fry. I put green beans, tomatoes, peppers, broccoli, really getting a different variety of vegetables so it can help support my healing. I guess for me, not my eczema, because my eczema is pretty much managed and in remission, but just in general, to keep my body and my microbiome healthy, I try to get enough fiber every single day into my meals. Okay, so I hope that is helpful in terms of why protein, fats, and fiber is really important and how much you're supposed to be getting at each meal. I gave you some examples of what protein, what fats, and what fiber to include in your diet. The last thing I want to mention here is if you are skipping breakfast, please, please, please consider adding your breakfast back in. As I mentioned earlier, if you skip a meal, you skip nutrients. It also has a massive impact on your digestion, on your blood sugar levels. For example, some people who don't eat enough in the day, they're fatigued, they have constipation, their skin maybe is flaring, and many reasons because of that. But of course, when you're not getting enough nutrition, then you can't support the body in healing. So add in your breakfast. It can be something small. It doesn't have to be anything too crazy, especially if you haven't been eating breakfast for a long time. Your body's going to need to get used to it. And same with breakfast. You want to always be able to balance with protein, fats, and fiber. So for example, a breakfast that's pretty common is oatmeal, for example. Oatmeal itself doesn't have that much protein. You got to make sure you have a protein source with your oatmeal, whether you're adding a protein powder, you're adding lots of hemp seeds, because hemp seeds have the highest protein when it comes to the different seeds. But oatmeal itself, not enough protein, right? Making sure that you're adding a source of fiber. Oatmeal has fiber, but let's bump it up even more with some fresh fruits on top. And then you can top it off with more nuts and seeds, some ground flax to kind of boost up the nutrient content. So in every single meal, the best way to balance is to really just think about what you can include in your diet to make it more wholesome, right? The more wholesome it is, the easier you're going to be full and you're going to be fulfilled as well. If your meals are not balanced, you're going to have cravings. You're going to crave sugar. You're going to crave carbs. You're going to feel hungry all the time, right? So making sure that you're eating balanced meals, you're not skipping meals, is going to overall help you with your eczema healing, first of all, but also you just feel better overall. You're going to be more energized. You're going to have better bowel movements. You're not going to be starving all the time. You're not going to have any cravings. So everything else kind of heals as well. All right, so that basically concludes today's episode on how to balance your meals for eczema healing. I feel like it's pretty straightforward in terms of how to do this. But of course, if you have more questions and you're still lost, you want meal planning, you want customization when it comes to your diet, this is what I do inside my coaching program called Clear Eczema. I help all my clients balance their meals. There's modules that teach my clients how to balance their meals, how to add in protein, how to add in fats. I give meal examples, meal plan templates, all the things when it comes to nutrition because it is my wheelhouse. If you need more support on that aspect, come and join us inside the program. We also use mindset, manifestation, root causes, and supplements as a way to support your healing. So if you want to join us, you can sign up at the show notes below. And then if for whatever reason Clear Eczema is not something that you're super interested in and you want something that's a little less comprehensive and maybe like a taste of coaching, then I have my 1-week Telegram support that's on sale right now on early bird pricing. If you have questions that you want to ask me, you have 7 days of unlimited access to me. And yeah, I hope we see you inside in any of these offers. If you have any other questions about this episode, you can also reach out to me on Instagram at juliachen.rd. I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your evening, morning, and I look forward to sharing the next podcast episode with you guys. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Now, before I let you go, I want to let you know I have this amazing free eczema visualization meditation. This visualization has helped me so much in my healing. It has helped me manifest skin healing faster than I ever imagined. My clients and I use it. We use it all the time in our group coaching calls, and it's honestly the best tool to use when it comes to healing. Now, if you want this visualization, all you have to do is leave us a review and give us a rating. Take a screenshot of this podcast and your review. Send it to our email at hello@juliachen.com and you will receive this amazing free visualization. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss out on this one. This visualization has literally changed my life. My clients and I do this every night before bed or even first thing in the morning, and it helps them heal flares faster. Okay, look forward to hearing your review, and we will see you soon.